friends, it's Rana and I'm here today to talk with you. I have been having these thoughts that have been irking me lately and I wanted to talk with someone about them, so here we are. I have been making booktube videos for 2.5 years. The third anniversary is around the corner, and I've been watching booktube regularly for over 7 years now, and it bothers me so much how much it affected my reading negatively. Did I discover a lot of amazing books thanks to YouTube? Yes, absolutely. Am I reading a whole lot more than I used to? Definitely. But is reading a lot is always a good thing? And I think my answer will be no. I used to consider myself an avid reader when I started reading as a hobby back in high school, and I used to read like 10 books a year, and I was so proud of myself for reading that much. Then, fast forward to the end of 2022 when I only read 95 books in that year, and I felt immense regret and disappointed in myself that I didn't reach the 100 mark when almost everyone easily read 150 to 200 books last year. I could have easily read 5 extra poetry books in a day or graphic novels, but I didn't. And I'm glad that I didn't because now I have set a new goal for me this year to focus with my reading on quality rather than quantity. There's this air of competition on Booktube and Goodreads where everyone is trying to read as much books as possible without really giving attention to what they are reading. And I used to be guilty of that too, because back when I started Goodreads, I read so much when I first discovered Booktube and Goodreads. And most of what I read, I either can't remember or I hated, because I was picking up popular books that everyone seemed to love, and I hated most of them. And that is the reason behind why I changed my reading challenge on Goodreads this year to one book only. Because it stresses the hell out of me to see that one line under my Goodreads challenge. And you know what I'm talking about. You are 5 books behind your reading challenge. You are 10 books behind your reading challenge. And that strips all the fun and enjoyment I have when I read books, because I just want to focus on the books I'm reading and enjoy them without keep thinking about when I'm going to finish it, so I can pick the next book so I can finish my reading challenge on time. And when I sit down and take a look at all the Goodreads challenges that I participated in since I discovered Booktube, I have read crazy amounts of books that I have never read before, and most of them I can't remember anything of them, and the rest are some shitty books I hated because I kept picking up what was talked about mostly on Booktube and what popular YA fantasy books that everyone was losing their mind over. I kept reading the popular YA books, the milk and honey kind of shitty poetry books, because I wanted to read what is popular and what people are loving, thinking that I'm gonna love it too. And if this is your first time watching my videos, hi, let me tell you this. My reading taste doesn't align with what is popular at all. And I know I said I only read 95 books in last year, in 2022, but when we think about it outside of Booktube in the real life, when I tell people I read 95 books last year, they are surprised because they barely read like 5 or 10 books, because that is the average amount normal people read a year. And I'm here brainwashed to think that I haven't read enough. And what subconsciously I started to do in 2022 is I started to read what I actually wanted to read, what is my taste of reading, not what people are talking about. And it turned out to be one of the best reading years of my life. It is the most I ever gave 4 and 5 stars in a year, and the most I struggled to pick only 10 favorite books of that year because I loved so many of what I read. And 90% of the books that I loved last year and were my favorite, barely no one mentioned them in their top books of 2022. Recently, a fellow booktuber called Katie Carlson made a great video to see what are the most mentioned books in Booktuber's Best Books of 2022 videos. And it came as an evidence to me that people on Booktube read the same damn books. And why is that? Because booktubers want to read the popular, new, hyped releases and books just to stay relevant and to make content out of them. Of course, not all booktubers do that, but most of them. And out of the 26 most mentioned books in Best Books of 2022, I only read 3. One I loved, one I hated, and one I was okay with. And more than half the rest I had zero interest in reading. And not one of my favorite 2022 books were mentioned in that video. Which really made me happy and feel better about myself because it shows that my goal of reading whatever I want and not whatever is popular really came through because I didn't read the popular books that year. Maybe that's why my channel isn't growing that fast because I'm not talking about the hyped books, but I'm not making videos to have viewership. I'm making videos to express my opinions about books and what I like and hate in them. That is why it is very important to find booktubers and book bloggers that have similar tastes in books like you, so you can find books that you will enjoy if you picked up, not books that are just popular in a group of readers that don't have similar tastes like you. I know it is obvious to do that, but at first, when I started watching Booktube, I didn't think about that at all because I didn't really know what I enjoyed in books. But now I know my taste in books very well, to the point that I can tell if I'm gonna enjoy a book or not before even starting it. And I also watched 70 plus videos of best books of 2022. Most booktubers in them mentioned that they read 100 plus, 200 plus books that year, but they struggled to pick only 10 books, 10 top books out of these, because they didn't read that much good books that year, which proves my point that Booktube just keep pushing us readers to read more and more books without thinking about what we really like in books, and we keep reading the new hyped, buzzed titles, thinking that it is the right thing to do as booktubers. I myself rather read 40 books a year and enjoy 90% of them rather than reading 100 plus books and ending up with mediocre books at best. And who the hell is chasing us with a broom to hit us with if we don't reach the 100 mark every single year? No one. So let's just relax and read whatever we want, whenever we want, without thinking about the numbers. Without the pressure of reading the popular new releases that don't even match our reading taste. Please do that, because I know I feel also the FOMO sometimes, the fear of missing out, but I suppress it and tell myself, you will probably hate that new popular book as much as you hated many previous ones since you started watching Booktube. So just go back to reading whatever interests you. Go read that backlist book that have been sitting on your shelves for years, because I guarantee you, reading what interests you, even if they were older books and not new releases, if it interests you and they are good books and you like them, it will feel way more awesome to do so than reading popular books that you will end up not enjoying. And let me tell you, some booktubers read 30 plus books a month, and most of which are new releases because it is their full-time job. It is not ours. I have my own 9 to 5 job and other things that prevent me from reading 24/7, and that's okay. That is normal. To think about it, one of the main reasons that made me feel so much pressure to read more books is that I'm a non-native English speaker, which makes me a slower reader of English books. That's why a book that will take a native English speaker like a day to read, it may take me 3 days, which made me feel so much pressure to read all the time to finish more books as much as native English speakers are finishing. But now I'm slowly accepting and coming to peace with myself to just read at my own pace, whatever I want, without feeling the pressure, because really Booktube has this air of competition that everyone is just wanna read all the time, and they say it themselves. They feel guilty whenever they finish only 4 books a month or 5 books a month, which is a great number of books to read in a month if you ask me. But the mindset of that we have to read all the time really affected us as readers. And that's how Booktube affected my reading negatively, and how I'm going forward with my reading in the future, reading whatever I want, whenever I want, without feeling any pressure about the numbers, which I think is a good thing for you to do too. So that's it for today's discussion. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I was all over the place and rambling, but I really wanted to sit down and talk with someone about this matter and to get it off my chest and tell you how I'm going forward with my reading habits. Let's continue this discussion in the comment section and tell me how Booktube affected your reading, whether positively or negatively. And that's it for today's video. I will see you next time. Bye!